the people that's talking about her is crusty and dusty as hell and ain't got no ring on their finger. That girl
Nope.
is beautiful. Like, she's absolutely gorgeous, but because she doesn't look like a cookie cutter, light skinned, long hair girl, she looks like her mom, and her mom is bad as hell. Like,
It just goes to show, just because it's someone who has dealt with skin tone as an issue.
mm-hmm.
They pretty much was trying to say like she's too dark. I don't even think they really cared about her size. Just that she
She's
was
too
too
dark to
dark and wasn't
deserve.
as attractive to deserve him because he was handsome.
Yes,
And he's handsome. But she's gorgeous.
And is
She's gorgeous.
both they make a great couple. So what we're talking about is Snoop Dogg's daughter Corey. She posted, well, her engagement photos are posted to social media and they look absolutely gorgeous. So thank you guys for joining us for episode 93, I believe. I think we're on 93. Oh, quickly approaching the 100 mark of Black Coffee.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What number?
93.
Really?
93.
I don't count no more.
And if we hadn't gone to the bi-monthly rather than every week, we would have been to the 100. But y'all, we tired. We tired. You see, I got a thrift sweatshirt on and all kinds of stuff. Like, so, life
This is my doctor's appointment dress.
Life is really lifing to all of us right now. It's really going through, but we are in a new year. Welcome to 2023. This is the first episode of the new year. Welcome to all new subscribers. Thank you all for joining us either from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Thank you so much. And to everyone who has been here from the beginning, in the middle, and even now. So thank you again. Really, we're just gonna have a gossip fest, and then we're gonna talk about a documentary that we all watched, but we haven't talked about it with each other. So our reactions to this are going to be very genuine because we haven't discussed this. Other than the name of the documentary, we have not talked about this at all.
Well, me and BW was watching it at the same time, and the way we were sitting there messaging each other like, "Did
you?" It was a mess.
Yes, and we do love messy true crime documentaries because this one is completely unbelievable. We have seen some unbelievable documentaries, but this one is like, this one's up there in the hierarchy of I can't believe this shit just happened.
Yeah. You know what though? On another note, y'all, people on TikTok are just not seeing in plain sight. It has been killing my FYP. Abducted in plain sight, and I'm like, and they're like, their first reaction to like the first 20 minutes, everybody's face is like dropped. I'm like, dang, they so late. I done watched that like 5 times.
Yeah, that was
like, the movie, the same reaction.
The movie was out on Peacock.
Oh, okay. That's
probably why people are looking at it again.
Now, did you watch the movie, Brandy? Did you get, like,
it's a movie?
I didn't watch it, but it came out the same time as Dahmer. So you might not have really paid attention to it, and it's not called Abducted at Plain Sight. It's something about family friend or some kind of friend. It's called. It's on Peacock.
Okay, so for those that are not in the know, about 3 or 4 years ago, Netflix came out with this. They debuted it on their network. This documentary called "Kidnapped in Plain Sight," and if I tell you, the first 10 to 15 minutes of this are like, turn it off, stop it. Did I just hear what I heard? Did I just see what I saw? Are there humans out here existing that do this?
It's called A Friend of the Family.
Okay, so if you watch Kidnapped in Plain Sight, it still might be on Netflix, or you can just Google it and they'll tell you where it is. And then Friends of the Family is now on Peacock. I haven't seen it, but now I do want to watch it because I want to see how, if it gives me the same sense of holy shit that the documentary did. But yeah, you got to watch it. Like Jackie just said, everybody who watches it, the first 15 to 20 minutes of it,
your mouth is literally dropped. Your mouth is dropped the whole time.
I need to rewind because did they say that? Like, that's what that is. This documentary that we're going to talk about a little later gives me the same. Like, when I started watching it, I immediately got in our group chat and was like, y'all, this is Kidnapped in Plain Sight point two. So, Randy, you're in the Matrix. I don't know what happened.
I told you.
Randy is somewhere in the Matrix. So, hey, we live in a digital age.
If it does too much, then I'll go on location. But right now it seems like it's acting okay.
Okay. What was the that reminds me of when this summer when you were on your way to Hawaii and what was that, Shaniqua that came in?
Shawanda. It was me under Shawanda's name.
Shawanda, and Jackie and I were sitting here like,
who's Shawanda?
Who the hell is Shawanda? Like, somebody has hacked into our show while we are recording it. Who is Shawanda? And it was this book. So I don't remember what episode that was, but it was the end of May 2022. When that episode came out. So go look, because it's on our Instagram page, just a little cutout of who's Shawanda, and it's also on my TikTok, which is Brandywine 4018. I'm going to start posting more clips from our shows on there. I might have to change the name or even create a TikTok specifically to Black Coffee and Crime, because there's a lot of content creators who talk about true crime, and I love them. And Jackie loves them, so we share videos back and forth with the ones that we've seen. I guess one of the bigger stories we can talk about, we were just saying what we was going to talk about, but Brandy's not too familiar with this. She didn't follow it, but I do want to talk about the Lilliputian Tory Lanez.
What you call it?
The Lilliputian. From Jonathan Swift. So yeah, he was convicted. Actually, he'll be sentenced, I think, sometime this month. What do you got? It was like 3 charges. There was a gun charge, the assault charge, and then something else. And so what kind of time do you think he's gonna get, Jackie?
I know that he can be charged up to 25 years or something like that.
Yeah,
he's not gonna get 25 years.
He's not gonna get nowhere near 25
You'll probably get in the single digits.
You think so?
Very much so. Yes, I do.
Well, one of those charges that he was convicted on was because he had a previous gun charge. So this was a violation. So either way, he got caught with a gun as a felon. He was already on probation. So typically what they do is whatever time that you did not serve on your previous probation, they tack that on now, since you violated. And then he's a Canadian citizen. So he's going to get deported.
He's definitely going to get deported, but I don't think he's going to get nowhere near that 25. I'm thinking
they'll probably still let him come into the United States to do work. But even though I didn't follow it, I do know that little friend, her
girl,
no longer best friend. I didn't like that she wasn't able to be charged with anything because they made that whole deal with her. But she was looking mighty.
My thing is, I don't believe in. I want to say this, but then there's always exceptions to a rule. But I don't really believe in giving anyone immunity, because you never know what they're going to get on the stand and say. Even though the judge was like, "You're going to perjure yourself," what are you going to get for perjury? But like, you gave this woman immunity, and all of a sudden she forgot everything she ever said. And you watch that man shoot your friend, but you mad because Megan. The only thing I'm mad about Megan is you was messing with that little Lilliputian dude. And this is nothing against little people, because Lilliputians are fictional characters in a Jonathan Swift novel, so we good. But I'm just mad because you was messing with him. Like, he did the hairline that the courtroom is.
I was about to say whoever did his man weave.
I mean, it was accurate.
But the person who drew it was being petty.
They gave that man. Like inverted edge up all the way around.
And it was sticking up. Wasn't it real spiky?
You know how when you let like 10-year-olds do the edge up on your yard and it's crooked? That's the way that person drew.
Wasn't it a little spiky too, wasn't it?
Because he really doesn't have any hair. But yeah, I was just mad at Megan because she was messing with him. But the old girl was mad because she was interested in Tori. And then she was out of the scene for a minute, and then Megan got with him or whatever, however that go. But old girl was like engaged the whole time.
I don't even know why either one was with him, truthfully.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross.
He reminds me of this little school bookworm.
Ew. He's not even the bookworm. He's just I don't.
Oh, you don't want to talk about the bookworm like that?
No. Don't be messing up my scholastic fantasies with.
I don't.
You don't want to talk about scholastic bookworm?
I don't want to talk about scholastic.
Yeah. Okay. Totally off subject. But Jackie, when you were in school, did you ever go to the book fair? Is she there? She might be gone.
Sorry, my thing was messing up. Yes, I collected my little change in the morning.
Okay, so the book fair that they would have at the school, and they would come out with the boxes and set up in like the auditorium or the lunchroom. Like, did you have like you saved your little coins and you went to the book fair? Like, what kind of stuff did you buy from the book fair?
Well, we weren't as fortunate, so make sure I'm gonna give you a little pencil, give me a little poster, get one of the little cheap, books, something like that. But definitely I'm gonna get something just so I can say I bought something, so they can give me that bag that has book fur on it. So most time it's gonna be like a 5-cent pencils and a notebook in there and a little cheap book like the Bernstein Bears or something, with like 5 pages.
Okay. And then the other book fair that they used to have when they used to come out, like they would send a catalog and you just kind of like check, and then you'd have to, they'd send it off and then
yes. Oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I did that too.
Can you see Brandy's face?
Brenda didn't do that? What happened? You didn't have those, Brenda?
Yeah, we had them.
What happened?
I didn't get near your book.
You said you didn't get a book?
Okay, so we have this thing. Brandy is really resentful. Like, it's really deep in her spirit when we talk about book fairs, because I didn't know that it just never occurred to me that you just didn't participate in the book fair. Like, what you mean? So we started talking about the book fair one day, and I was like, yeah, I used to go and, I would get books and stuff, like a lot of stuff. And so
a lot of stuff, like a lot.
Yeah, that was important. Like, Brandy says I was spoiled and bougie, and I didn't really see it that way, but then maybe, maybe I was as a little kid. I guess so. But like, if I didn't bring my money, I would call my grandma to tell I didn't have the money, and then my grandfather would have to bring me book fair money because the book fairs today.
Anya, I was an avid reader. I would study the scholastic form, study it, circle the ones I wanted, check mark.
That's right, it was scholastic.
I used to go through that thing like I go through the IKEA catalog, like over and over and over again.
You have to plan it out.
My mom would give me a budget and tell me how much I could spend.
Wait a minute, Brand, how much was your budget? Because I can promise you my budget was definitely not yours.
What, $20 to $25.
Yeah, no.
You know how many books you could have got back then with $25 with Scholastic Book Fair? And then to make it even worse, my sister said that my mom would give them money for them to go to the book fair.
Well, you do realize that the mom that you had is not the same mom that they had.
Kiana's 2 years younger than me. 2.
I understand, but each child has a different mother. Each child has a different mother. You experience your parents differently. Your parents experience you differently.
Sorry, even get.
My mom claims I did get booked for the book fair, but yeah.
I just wish that there was, I know we have Barnes and Noble, we have Amazon, but I wish there was a way that we could get that Scholastic experience back, because there was something about like, what was the Amelia Bedelia, and like getting like the whole stack of Amelia Bedelia books.
See how she rubs it in? The whole stack?
Because they used to come like in a little shrink wrap bundle.
That's foreign to me. A bundle of books? A bundle?
You get that collection. You get that collection pack.
Yes, they used to come in the bundle.
I don't know anything about that. All I know is getting a book by book from the library. I didn't get a bundle.
Yeah, you would get like book 1 through 4, 5.
No. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And then Brandy just keeps on going when she sees I'm feeling uncomfortable, and she keeps on talking about the bundle.
Brandy, this is the same thing that you do to me when you start singing Negro spirituals and won't stop.
Wow, well, you're comparing Negro spirituals to you having book fair money?
You can't equate that to book fair money.
That's not the same thing.
I had to sing Negro spirituals to keep the Lord in my heart and a smile on my face, because I didn't have no Scholastic book fair money.
But okay, so
that in itself is a crime.
Brand, book fair money and whatever it's called, it's not the same. It's not the same as Negro spirituals.
Jackie, that's two different things. You have not experienced Brandy singing the same refrain over and
what does that have to do with book fair money?
And over again throughout an entire
I have a song in my heart.
She will just break out and start singing the chorus to
because I have a church home.
Oh Lord.
Okay.
Not the same.
And you rubbing that in and saying that is why you never got blessed with Scholastic money.
It's too late now.
Well, then there's always the kids in grade school, Scholastic book fair money kids, and the kids without Scholastic book fair money.
You see how y'all see what she does for the kids who didn't get Scholastic book fair? You see how she tries to put us in our own, and that means you too, Jackie, because you said you got pencils and a poster.
That was one of 50 cents.
She said she got a bundle of books, a bundle of Amelia Bedelia and Ramona Quimby, age 8.
I better get them $2 and go sit down somewhere. I better get.
Wait, Brandy, why you gotta say Ramona Quimby, age 8? Why you gotta put Ramona in it?
Because I know that came in a bundle too.
It did. In which book? Okay, I know we're totally off subject, but which book was it that had Washburn Cummings in it? Which Ramona? I'm gonna have to look, because that was my favorite one, and I don't remember the name of it, but I just, for whatever, because Washburn Cummings was.
You remember that name?
And
they should have turned Amelia Bedelia into a movie.
Amelia Bedelia, and what was the lady who Viola Swamp? They needed to turn that one.
They should redo that as a horror film. I wouldn't watch it, but I'm just saying it'd be nice as a horror.
I'll find that.
No, I don't watch scary movies.
I'll find that book later, and I'm probably gonna have to go get it because it's nostalgia. All right, y'all. We don't stop talking about nonsensical stuff. And any other crimes or whatever we need to talk about? Anything else interesting in the news since this new year? Besides the bullshit going in the Capitol, you had to vote for that man 15 damn times before he got elected Speaker of the House. I think they just gave it to him because they got tired of voting. Like, just go and take his shit.
They just kept going on and on and on. I was watching it because I just couldn't believe that they was gonna end up. They were just gonna take it that far.
Of course they are.
I didn't think they would have to go till 15. I thought that it would round up a little quicker than that.
No, I think there was.
I'd have been pissed off if I was there, especially as the time kept going.
Katie Porter from Orange County, California, she was reading that book. the art of learning how not to give a fuck or something like that, which is now, since she's reading that book in the house, that book is now back on the bestsellers list on Amazon. I think it's a subtle art of not giving a fuck or something like that. She was
Can you get DoorDash or Uber Eats or anything over there? Because that's the only way I'd be able to stay.
Well, they were bringing pizza and stuff, and you know, some of the people had popcorn because they knew they was about to be entertained. So I think for the Dems, it was a big joke because they knew what they were walking into. So it was a bunch of mess. I guess it's just a bunch of celebrity mess in the news right now. All right, so let's talk about this documentary. Now, this documentary that we watched, it came out in mid-December. I probably watched it about that time. It is called Don't Answer the Phone. That is the name of the documentary, Don't Answer the Phone. And it came, Don't Pick Up the Phone, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's the name of the movie on Netflix. It's still on Netflix right now. And basically, somebody, just think of this. You're working at McDonald's. You pick up the phone. Somebody says they're a cop. And they're like, we're looking for a suspect who da-da-da-da-da. You need to go search one of your employees. This man convinces people that he's a cop. Gets the manager. Now, the documentary centers around a McDonald's in Mount Washington, Kentucky. So that's where it centers around. But think about this. This happened at like 100 different McDonald's locations in 32 states. This was not a singular incident. This happened multiple times. So this guy calls, he acts like a cop. The manager answers the phone. They're like, hey, we need you to go search this person. Da, 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 da. We think that they stole a customer's keys or wallet or something like that. There's a very specific person that needs to be searched. And he gives very specific instructions on what to do. He convinces this unseen, unknown, unverified person on the phone, convinces the manager of the store to lure one of her young 19-year-old employees into the back room and have her searched because he can't come. He can't come to the scene, so they need to do the search for her. They make this girl strip out of her clothes. I mean,
well, they gave him a choice: either go down to the precinct or to be searched.
Do the search in the store. They stripped this girl down to the studs. Y'all hear me? Down to the studs. And if the first humiliation was with the female manager, the caller tells the manager, is there a man in your life that you can call so he can do the search? The manager calls her boyfriend to come to the McDonald's. Was he already in the McDonald's or did she call him? I think he was already there.
Yeah.
No, she called. I thought she called him there. I didn't know.
She either called him or he was just in the McDonald's. But he gets there and she tells him that the cop on the phone wants you to do the search. So she hands him the phone, doesn't think anything of it.
I mean, why?
She doesn't think, why am I doing a search for the police officer? She gets her boyfriend to continue the search for her. This guy doesn't work at McDonald's, doesn't have anything to do with this, comes to the back room and says, yes, I will continue this for her. There are specific instructions on how to lift up the girl's breast, to look under her breast. She is not a very big girl.
There was touch her jeans. He had to touch her jeans.
Right. There was no under the breast. Have her jump up and down just in case something shakes out. Now, listen, I'm a big girl. So if I get searched, you can ask me to jump. And there might be some quarters, some popcorn, some Skittles, some Runts, some M&Ms or something that's going to fall out of somewhere.
Did you say what?
Something. that might fall out.
I've had it happen to me.
But this little girl didn't have,
She's like that runs.
She didn't have no back snacks. She didn't have no rolls. She didn't have nothing. You're having her jump. You're having her bend over and do all these acrobatics. In this time, what they're not considering and what they allude to in the documentary is this girl is absolutely fucking petrified of the authority.
And keep in mind that the female manager is walking in and out doing her job, like, you know, checking stuff, counting money, doing her job. Ain't paying them no attention.
Like, this girl is ass naked in the back office, and I think her name was Donna. I swear her name was Donna. I could be wrong.
Deborah.
Was it Deborah? Walking in and out of the office, bending down to look in the safe, and just like turns around and goes away. So this goes on for 3 hours. Having the girl sit in the man's lap, having him touch her genitals.
Perform fellatio.
Yep,
How was that a part of you're looking for something? And these people,
what was his name?
He was actually convicted of the crime. He was the only one convicted.
I can't remember his name.
His name
was it Jeff?
Hold on.
Was it Earl?
No, it wasn't Earl. His name was Walter.
Yo, Walter.
Yeah,
Jeff.
Walter. That's right.
It was Walter. He got 5 years in prison for forcing a sexual offense. But of course, you know, he claimed it wasn't his fault. I mean, just the description of this, okay? Because the documentary just kind of starts and goes right into the scene. So the shock value is the same that I got from Kidnapped in Plain Sight. Like, I'm watching this, like the whole first episode, I'm watching and I'm like,
I was literally about to say that. I was about to say I had the exact same reaction. Like, within 10 minutes, my mouth was already like, what?
Right. I'm sitting watching and I'm like, what am I watching? Like, I watched the first episode, second episode, went back to the first episode because I was like, I missed something. I know.
The thing is, I'm trying to put myself in this girl's shoes, and if they said to go to the precinct or get searched here,
I'm going downtown.
I'm going to the precinct because I know I didn't do anything.
I think that she didn't intend for it to get that far. I think she just intended for them to do like a little pat down or something.
And she was white, so there's no fear, like, you know, that I'm gonna be.
Oh yeah, that's,
you know.
But let me say this: the fact that she's white is one of the biggest reasons why she stood in that office and let them assault her. And the fact that they are white is one of the reasons why they went along with that shit. Listen, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not trying to be bigoted, but it is what it is. Because white people are taught to trust the police. Trust authority.
Yes.
If someone, and not just white people, I'm going to say this, not just white people, but when it comes to cops and military, white people are taught you trust authority. But Black people, other people of color are also taught trust authority figures, which is why abuse happens in churches and in schools, is because we are brainwashed into thinking whatever someone, a teacher, whatever higher than you says to do something, you do it. You trust them implicitly. Now, people of color might trust their church figures or their teachers, but what we ain't gonna trust are cops.
Is them cops.
So that is the big difference. This is a cultural difference. This whole documentary is about culture. And because you want me to do what? I bet.
Excuse me? You say what?
Jackie,
let me do what?
Let's give a real world example. You remember when we worked at the company that we worked together with, right?
Yeah.
I knew that they were going to let me go.
Because
they asked me to quit. And I said, hell to the no. Y'all gonna have to. So what did I do? Because I don't like people touching my stuff. About for a whole month, I was emptying out my desk. Now I used to have a bunch of stuff at my desk, pens and cups. And I mean, just, just make my life comfortable while I'm sitting here for 8 hours. By the time they called into that front office, the only thing I had on my desk was a plant, a bamboo plant. That's it. Because I don't want you touching my shit. So when they said, can you come to the front office? I got my travel cup, my backpack, I put everything in there and I said, I'm ready to go. Because my thing is, you're not going to come back here and touch my shit. You can't tell me, oh, we're going to take you into this office and we got to search you and do this. And we got to make sure that you don't have any company, nothing, because you're not searching me for shit. No. What you see me come in here with is what I'm leaving with. Like, where you're not searching me. I was in that office with those two managers for all of 5 minutes. I'm not staying in here with you white people for too long.
As far as I'm concerned, you're manager or supervisor or whatever, and I'm on fries. I really don't look at you in so high esteem that I feel that you should be able to search my body.
Not that I'm on fries.
I'm just saying, I don't look at them in such high esteem that you have the ability, the authority, just because you're the shake manager, that you can come and search my body.
But do you think it was more about them saying that there was a cop on the phone?
Yeah, I don't care who was. I don't care. Yes, it had everything to do with that, but I don't care. I don't care who's doing. Lorraine is not going to make me strip down for her husband Charles to come in there and make me clap my cheeks.
Girl, they got her down to the bobby socks.
I said down to the yams.
To the bobbies. I mean, I'm sitting there and I was just like, at what point do you be like, but see, what they did was they took her clothes. Did they say
they took her clothes? Well, I don't know. I can get that mixed up with the other girl.
No, they took her clothes.
Because one of them only had an apron.
Yeah. But I think they took her clothes and her keys or something like that. So if she left, she would have had to go through the restaurant naked.
And you know what? I would have walked out.
They wouldn't put it in her car. They wouldn't put her clothes in the car.
And it was the humiliation. I think I can only imagine, because I've never been in a situation like that, but I can only imagine in her mind, this is going to be simple. I'm just going to prove to them that I don't have this person's wallet or keys. And then it keeps going far. And then it's like, maybe she was, and her name was Louise. I'm not blaming her at all.
No, she was a young girl.
I think she was probably just frozen with fear. Like, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get out of here, but then it would go even further.
And then Deborah even went in there and gave her a hug. I mean, she could tell she was shooken up. She could tell she was scared, crying. And she went and hugged this baby while she naked.
My thing
and went right back to work.
You knew that Walter Earl Charles, whatever his name was getting sucked off by this girl.
Exactly.
And you was okay.
You walk into your office and this young girl is sitting naked on your fiance's lap, and you don't find a problem with that? Because the police told the biggest problem, which is really not addressed, it slightly touched on in this documentary, but the biggest problem is the gullibility and the culpability of the people who listened to the caller. Like, nobody, especially it's made very plain, especially in that first part, the first episode, we're talking about Louise, that you kind of question, were these people sexual predators prior to the call and they got an opportunity, or did the caller make them into sexual predators? Like, what's the psychology behind this? Because this is madness, like complete madness. I can't imagine.
I definitely wondered about Walter, because I was like, how could you be comfortable enough to sit on the phone, let some cops tell you to do these instructions and not question? Yeah, he looked like one, and not be curious at all. He was complete. And then after she get a fellatio, then he want to run out. Now you done did everything now. Why now you want to feel uncomfortable and run out? Something's up.
I just want to
made this
ask you,
call,
what
baby.
would y'all do? Now, mind if there was somebody on the phone or not. You walk into the back storage room and there's a naked one. Now, this girl's neck is sitting on your man's lap. At that point, do you care what the police are saying on that phone?
Somebody
No,
can ask.
I'm gonna be like the dude. I would be like the dude like at Pizza Hut. No, this ain't going there right here. Ain't that what he told them? No, we're not doing this. Pretty much. In other words, he's like, no, we're not doing this. Put your clothes back on. We should have figured this
And
out.
the only person who had common sense in the McDonald's that day was one of the shift workers. Was like, that's not a cop. Like out of nowhere, he's like, that's not a cop. Because in the entire 3 hours, this person's on the phone with you, but you don't hear any squad cars come. You don't hear any presence of police. So it's not even, like you hear things about crowd mentality and group mentality. Like we talked about it with Kitty Genovese, how in her neighborhood she was being assaulted and everybody thought that somebody else was calling the police, right? And so they collectively, without even speaking to each other, decided that we're not going to intervene because someone else has to be calling. That's not the situation here, because we're talking about individuals who are making decisions to go along with the unknown. And the unknown that's making you do violence.
Like, I bet you that food didn't call no Popeyes.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Because the people at Popeyes would have found you on the payphone that you was talking at.
Out of town. No matter where you were. You'd have feel a little tap, 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 tap.
Mm-hmm. You'd be like, he over there on Western and 55th. Go get him.
So they end up finding this. There was a sheriff in one of the small towns and another officer somewhere else who Florida started putting two together and like doing their own type of investigation. And they find this guy who is a CEO. They bring him in and they're sure this is the guy. Do you guys believe that was the guy?
Mm-mm.
No, you do not believe the guy that they brought in was the guy?
Nope.
No, I don't. I don't think it was.
Who do you think was the guy? It stopped after he went to trial. All of it stopped.
But couldn't that be fear at that point? Because now I see people are after me big time. Like they're after me big time. They've already started drawing it down. I just didn't think it was him. I mean,
I think it was totally him. I think it was him. I think it was him. I just don't think they had enough. I don't think they had enough evidence to support it, but I do think it was him.
You think because the call stopped, it was him?
Huh?
Just because of that one thing, because of the call?
Say it one more time?
Because of the call stopping after they got him, did you think is that the reason?
Well, that was part of the reason, but I just think that they were able to find exactly where this man worked and everything, and the pictures from the Walmart with him buying them cards.
Well, okay, so
I think it was him.
It was the sheriff from Kentucky and it was a cop from Boston, and they found the guy in Florida. Yeah. He was buying all the
CEO.
And it took that one cop years. Like he had a relationship with the girl from AT&T. Like he was on her to find everything. And I don't know.
To get the record.
Right. I don't know who's old enough to remember calling cards before cell phones became a thing. Like
I do.
Would use calling, even if you had a cell phone, you will use the calling card to make a long distance, because we used to have to pay for long distance even on cell phones. So it was if you just at a certain time in history, early 2000s, it was hard to get information because the calling cards, you were just, hey, like buy them, and that's it. There's really no way to trace them, but they traced it and they found it down. I don't know if I'm convinced that it was him and him alone. How about that? I don't
I
think
believe
he
it
was
was
doing
him.
this.
He fit the profile of man who wanted to be an officer but couldn't be an officer. They caught him on the video buying the cars that was used to call the freaking girls. Like, it was him. I just don't think they had enough to convince that jury. But if I was on that jury, it would have been a long holdout, because I'd be like, y'all might as well order some pizza because that fool's guilty.
One of the cops said about the video that the guy's name is David Stewart. But they said that, you know, they really thought that they had a good case with this guy. So it's just like Brandy said, either way, there wasn't enough evidence. It's not like we live now where everyone has a digital footprint. It's almost impossible to exist without some sort of digital footprint. Like they can track and see what kind of toilet paper that you buy.
Even though there's one person that we've been looking for a long time that we cannot find online or anywhere.
This is true.
Our high school friend.
This is true. Although I did trace him a little bit, this person that Randy and I talk about a little bit, but I get no further. But it's not even like a digital footprint. It's like old school.
An article in a newspaper.
Right. It's old school yellow pages type stuff, like address information, but no digital footprint. So yeah, that is still a mystery. But we know he existed at least. We know he didn't commit a crime we just looked for. But I don't think that David Stewart was. I just don't think that a crime like this is a singular person.
I can't believe you don't think that man was guilty.
I won't say that he's not guilty, but I don't think he's the only one that's guilty.
Girl, he was the only one. Oh, nasty perv. It was him buying them cards in the Walmart on the video. It was him. I don't care how many kids or wives or whoever he had. That was him. It was him. Why did it just stop? Why did it just stop?
Okay, so let's just suppose that it was him and another person.
It was him. So we don't need to suppose.
Maybe I'm supposing that if there was another person. If the other person, like Jackie said, is hot now, everybody's found this out. The case, like the first victim, Louise, she's now suing McDonald's. And it's curious how we never knew about this shit. But, you know, like it's hot. Maybe it was another cop. Maybe it was, you know, someone who was really savvy. Maybe it was.
I think that if it was a two-person gang, the other person's ego would prevent them from being able to stop. They wouldn't be able to stop.
Not if it was a woman.
They didn't say it was a woman's voice.
No, but I'm just saying, if the other person was a woman, the ego would not be the issue.
Well, that changes the whole scenario of the crime.
No, it doesn't, because look at Deborah. Look at Deborah. Deborah got her fiance to sexually assault this girl.
So you're saying
and she walked in and out.
A woman was initiating this.
I'm just, and I don't know if this actually happened. I'm not saying a woman initiated it, but a woman could be.
I just think it would be. I just don't think they would look at the woman with much authority as they would a man.
No. They still don't look at women in terms of being able to commit the same crimes as men. If you look at like a crime that's committed with a man and a woman, the woman will typically get the lesser sentence. So I'm saying that if there was a woman involved, then and like Jackie said, it suddenly stopped. There's no ego to make her say, no, not all. I'm not saying that all women don't have egos, but there's no ego to say, I want the world to know what we did. No, it's kind of a shame because I'm a woman and I let him do this.
But then I'm saying that if it was a woman involved, it wouldn't have been successful enough for them to even have a track record, because a woman cop calling for them to do this does not hold as much authority. No.
I'm not saying that the woman was calling. I'm saying that she was.
Because I was like, he was calling when nobody could get nothing.
No. No, I'm just saying that I just don't.
No, I
I
don't
don't
know
think a
when
person like that,
it
because
could be ego.
you're talking about ego. So I don't think a person like that could keep it to himself. Like, I did this to 100 different locations. I have the power to convince people not only to get to take off their clothes, I can get people to have other people take off their clothes,
But
and
also,
especially saw
I
somebody
think
else.
because he had kids, he might have thought, "Oh, I effed up." But I don't.
No,
I think he did it. I
look
think
how
he
many
did it.
serial killers and serial rapists have kids.
I think he did it. I think he did it. I think he wanted that he wanted that authority that he did not get as a CO. You know, he couldn't become a police officer even though he tried so many times, and he wanted to be that important person that he was not in real life. And I think he did it. I think he did it. I
I'm
think
not
he did it. I
upset.
think he did it alone by himself with them damn calling cards, hunched up on the phone, jacking off in the night, the starry sky, by the payphone on top of the Pacific Bell yellow pages.
Wow, not on the yellow pages. The ones that's attached to the string, the metal
That
string.
one. Just wipe off, clean up real good
He didn't
before
even
he go
bother to
home to
wipe
his
it off.
wife and children.
This is weird, y'all. This is weird. And it's even more weird that it happened at so many different locations.
And I've
This
never
man
heard of this. Never
never
heard of
heard
it.
of it. Never. This is the quietest settlement from a multi-billion-dollar company I've ever heard of. Louise, the girl from that had the 3-hour ordeal from episode 1, she finally sued McDonald's. They settled for like $6.1 million. And apparently hers was not the only settlement. There were multiple settlements that McDonald's had to make. Because it's your workers who are doing the assaulting. Like, what kind of sensitivity training do you do after this?
They could have sent a fax. They can't send email because they didn't have no email. They could have sent
I
a
feel like it's
fax.
just basic common sense.
Well, they could have sent something
What
saying it was coming
sensitivity
on for
can
those
you
people who don't
what
have
training
common
could
sense.
you give? You can't teach people how to use common sense. That's common sense. That's basic ass shit. How you gonna teach somebody to be just normal? Just use their brain. I mean, the second you bring somebody in there and took off their clothes, I just didn't understand I just did not get it. Like, how did you not get it? How did you let it get that far?
Because
How
that's
would
As a
true. Because
you?
we
woman,
don't
how did you let it
think
get that
we
far?
do not think and hold police officers in that regard where we just trust them blindly. We're coming up in this. We don't trust them from jump. Even the good ones, we don't.
But I know some people that are not of our melanin skin that are smarter than. You know what? I think this is just me thinking in comment. Like, how Brian go through her moments, BW, and she'd be like, I just wouldn't have done that. And that's just because BW is extremely smart, so she knows that's just common sense. So I guess I'm looking at it that way because I just don't understand. I
And he did
just
it in
don't get
small
it.
towns. He wasn't doing it in these big bustling
Right.
cities.
This is completely unbelievable. And like Brandy said,
BW,
someone with a modern.
but it doesn't take a big town to know you see some
No, it
girl in
didn't,
there.
because it took a janitor to come in there and saying, "What the hell are you guys
A
doing?"
janitor, just common basic sense. This is basic common sense. It's just basic. It's not even. It doesn't even take a lot of thought to it. It's basic, like a basic thought to. This is abnormal. Why she ain't got no clothes on?
That's why I'm
Why
like,
did we make her strip? That's
were
just
these
basic common
people?
sense.
Did these people have a Chester vibe before
But you're
the
right,
call
BW.
came?
They just trust the popos. I don't know. I'm just
No, but
don't
even
get
if
it.
you trust the police, right? Even if you trust the police, you could be like that. I can't do that. Like, I can keep her here in the office until y'all get here, but I can't tell that girl to take off her clothes. I don't do that. So my thing is, like, were these people, like, did they have something just waiting to be cracked open, some sort of Chester vibe, waiting to be
I
cracked
don't think
open,
so. I just think they didn't think. They didn't think.
Okay. I'm going to ask this, since you're saying that they did.
Now, the fiance had a Chester vibe. But the little old man that worked at the other place where the janitor came in, I don't think he had a chest survivor.
Do you think that in cases like this, when someone else convinces you to do something and you do it based on your perception of their authority, should you be prosecuted with diminished capacity? Like,
No, you still
your
did it. Just because you were
responsibilities?
stupid don't mean that you didn't do it.
That
You're
brand,
just stupid.
you still stupid, but you gotta get punished.
Because that guy that you're talking about, Brandy, he was like, his friends, he lost his friends because they're like, how could you do this?
And I was his friend, and he would have lost me too.
It's that thing, because that, to me, I'm like, you are
A
like,
grandpa. He's a grandpa.
if you watch a commercial too hard, are you gonna get up and do whatever? Like, are you gonna play the Beatles Black
If
Album
nothing else, he should have
backwards?
thought, if the police call, would I strip down my granddaughter to her skins and tell her to open her cheeks and do jumping jacks naked? Like, just because you don't get excused for being stupid. There's people who are the drivers for bank robbers and all, they need to get charged just the same. You want to be stupid and roll with them and do whatever you want to be stupid, you're gonna serve the same time. The law does not factor in, they don't have a stupidity clause. You stupid, you just stupid.
Which is why I also think that Donna Deborah, whatever her name was, Walter's fiance, I think she should have gotten charged and convicted of a crime as well.
She should have.
She should have.
But they probably didn't think that she did it with any sexual.
I don't. It's crazy because, like, these people are doing this, and it's kind of like, do you think they went into it with a sense of malice? But in the end, what you did was violent as fuck. What you did was violent as hell. And no, you didn't go into the McDonald's with the malice or to the office because you didn't know what that caller was going to tell you to do. But in the end, you did turn into a monster, which I can't. Like, I don't know which is more unbelievable to me. These people listening to an unknown, faceless, unverified, fake police officer, or the dad from Kidnapped in Plain Sight.
Oh, you go. That's two more stupid folks.
What?
And the dad. But more so the dad. You think more so the dad? I think more so the dad, because he was just still going against social norms.
Yeah, but like, I don't know which one is more believable. I mean, unbelievable. This documentary or Kidnapped in Plain Sight. Like, oh Jesus. I don't know which shocks me more and which disgusts me more. And I am very disgusted with humans. I am so disgusted with humans. Our behavior is horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
I don't know what to tell you.
If you do something because you want to do it and you're a creep or whatever, that's you. But you let somebody else convince you off of a very flimsy excuse to do the most horrid shit. And then you're like, well, he was a nice guy. So I just, what? I just let him have my daughter, and she's 13, and I just, he took her to Mexico when she was 12 to get her married, and we just brought her back, but he's still such a nice guy. What did they call him in the Kidnapped in Plain Sight? They had a nickname for him.
I can't remember.
Like, I don't know which people disgust me more, the people from Don't Take the Call or Kidnapped in Plain Sight.
Definitely in Plain Sight, for sure. For sure. Because it's a child.
Because that was their daughter.
And that's the problem. The problem I have is it's a child.
years later, I am still like
Sick.
in a sense of awe about that documentary. Like my mind is still very much blown by Kidnapped in Plain Sight. Like I'll never be able to understand. You can't make me. There's no doctor. There's no FBI profiler.
It's so it's just so
the fact
unbelievable.
that that's what it is, BW. It's just unbelievable that he was literally sleeping with the parents
and the baby.
And the baby. It's the whole. He done took in 3 folks.
That's why I almost don't want to watch the movie, because it's gonna make me mad all over again. Because not only are they telling it, they're gonna be acting it out, and I'm almost where I
God,
like I can't because it's just too.
And then when the dad tried to play it off like, you know, well, I mean, he told me he need a little hand job, and it's no big deal, you know, like nigga, you
girl. When he said that, I said, "Oh, wait."
I rewinded that part because I thought I was tripping. I said, "Did he say hand job?" Let me just. I rewinded
my wife
that
just my wife did
because
my wife
I was shocked.
Isn't being there for me sexually, so I just need to release.
The pastor.
I'm not gonna say like I don't know what every guy that I've been with, but I pretty much know that they probably wouldn't. They wouldn't do that.
Baby gone, and he just sleeping with the mama. She just in love, ready to leave her whole family. He done took the child.
First of all, the person that was more in love with Robert, his name was Robert. The person that was more in love with Robert than the mama or the daughter was the daddy.
He was, because he cried. He was crying.
That's why when the wife said that she was gonna leave, while he went through all those extremes, you mad because you are so in love with Robert, but you know you can't have him. And that hand job that he gave him in the car, it went way further than that.
Way beyond.
I know, because that's just what he would tell us.
And
that was bad.
He had a little bit of sense of shame just because he had to vocalize what he did, but he never, that smile never left his face. I'm gonna tell you why that movie is so sick to me. Now we talk about, of course, abducted. It's called Abducted in Plain Sight, not Kidnapped. But the reason why that movie is so sick to me is because years later, 30, 40 years later, they all still have these feelings for Robert.
That's the problem.
It never turned to hate. It never turned to bitterness. It never turned to disgust. They are all still very much. This man abducted your baby, sexually assaulted your baby, had a sexual relationship with the both of y'all, then tried to kill y'all years later. He tried to kill them. And they still call him by his nickname at the end of the movie. And they still speak fondly of this.
Yes, that's literally my reaction. That movie. Every time I watch the document, that's literally. I'm like,
I don't think the daughter speaks fondly of him.
She does,
no,
Brandy.
She does.
She so does.
I don't think I've seen an interview with her talking about it, and she doesn't seem to. To me, she doesn't seem to think of him.
When I watched the follow-up stuff, she seemed like she was kind of upset at him about everything,
and upset with her parents.
Yeah,
there are parts in that document. There are parts in that movie where it's like you know how like when you're talking about a fond memory and your eyes kind of glaze over, and you kind of she gets this look in her face like she remembers being in love with this person, but how can
I don't get that at all? I think that she shows that she wasn't, now that she understands, and kind of like, what's wrong with my parents type of vibe. Like, I don't get that from her at all.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Because there are parts, and I'm not saying every time she talks about him, but there are parts where she's very like nostalgic about when he would take her horseback riding or things like that. Like, and when he would take her out on the boat.
I mean, that's the whole part of that's the whole movie.
Whoa, you're going down. I
mean, they got to take you to do fun stuff where you wouldn't.
And then on top of
I
that,
would
like,
love to go to Disneyland. To say if somebody took me to Disneyland, groomer, I would be very fond of my trip to Disneyland. I wouldn't be fond of why he took me to Disneyland looking back on it now, but I would remember I had fun at Disneyland.
I think I would associate all the activities with the trauma, like all of them.
Maybe you would, but maybe everybody wouldn't. Especially if you, I mean, that means everything. Eating at a restaurant, watching TV, all of those things would be triggers.
It's also too in Abducted in Plain Sight, the fact that they keep calling him by his name, they speak his name with fondness. Now they're not calling him this man, this monster, this asshole, this bastard. They're just Robert. They sound like, you remember on the episode of
what bothers
the Cosby
me
Show when they ran
like
the car into Stevie Wonder and they recorded Vanessa saying Robert. That's the way that shit reminds me. Robert. It's just
Yeah, they're very calm, very calm considering what they've been through. So
maybe that's.
But I'm not. But I don't know if it's her. I'm like, I would be Debbie. I'm not quite sure she feels that way, but I definitely think that the mom still and the dad still love after all these years.
B or something like that.
Reminisce.
They call him B. I think they called him
B.
Because his last name is Berchtold or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, Jackie, it's the calmness of their voices. Like they don't.
That's what it is. They don't. Even when he was calling the mom, when he kidnapped her the second time, and they would talk to him, her on that phone. When I tell you the way I get so mad, because she's, well, B, I really wish you would just.
Girl, he didn't kidnap her the second time. The mama hand delivered her with a bow.
Yeah, but they're trying to say the kidnap. But that,
Do you think that could happen now?
It's okay. Oh, so peace.
Absolutely, Brandy.
I think part of it was the innocence of the girl and her not knowing about sex.
It's already happening now. It happens.
Not knowing about sex and all of that was part. I don't think a 12, 14-year-old.
What's some people called? What's that?
I think it had more to do with their religion. It had more to do with their religion.
Because she didn't know what sex was.
Because they were Mormon. But I think it happens on a different level right now. All of it's trafficking, but it happens on a different level because parents are culpable. Some parents, I'm not saying all parents, and please don't come for me when I say this, but some parents see a successful person and basically they help groom their child for that man. They help groom.
Because isn't it kind of like it's like the Latter-day Saints? I mean, think about their story with Jeff, which that's a good documentary as well. But look at which we were supposed to talk about. Anyways, but just look at that. I mean, he literally has everyone manipulated into a state of mind where they think it's okay that he is sleeping and marrying children. So because they think that's okay. They think they're looking at theirs is more religion based.
They were Mormon as well. The FLDS
I'm saying it's more religion based.
Yeah,
it's just religion based, and they think that's okay. But that's
But you know what? You remember a couple of years ago? I think it was like 2 years ago on social media. That black guy, he was an old crusty ass black dude in his 50s, married his goddaughter, who was like,
yes, she turned
like 15 or 16 when she had a baby, and then he married her, but her mom was still alive.
Yes, they split up now.
Her godfather.
Yeah, he was her godfather. There's pictures of him holding her as a baby.
Yes,
throughout her entire life, and her mom still is alive.
I wonder how that marriage is going.
No, they broke up.
They split up.
They're
divorced. She moved on. They're just recently too.
The pastor.
The what?
Young girl that married the pastor.
My dad was just talking about that the other day. Like a 40-year-old pastor married like a 15, 16-year-old girl. Like they're married.
Kind of the same thing. They married her on her 18th birthday or something like that. So what was the reason for their divorce? What was the ground?
I don't remember. I don't know.
They don't really talk about it. It's just that like people were showing like a post she made on Facebook
Yeah,
about
this
how
happened about a
they're
year or
divorced.
so or more
I
ago.
didn't know they got a divorce, but there was a pastor who married the girl on her 18th birthday, and everybody at the church was okay with it. And he was upset that people had a problem with it or something.
Because the people in the church have been brainwashed into believing that that's okay. And trust me, that's not a singular practice. They probably do that all the time. Having the deacons over for dinner when they start coming of age, you know, the deacon's looking at you. You know, you be nice to pastor. So that's how. Now we can like take this back to don't take the call. That's how in colored folk lives, that's how we get groomed, is through church.
Yeah.
We might not get groomed, or we might not believe the authority of a police officer, but we will believe the authority of a pastor.
Yep.
Church figure, and them church mothers too. That's how we get groomed. That's how, you know, this, if you switch that scenario and said that this don't take the call happened at a church, we would totally understand how that happened. Now, we can't understand how it happened at the McDonald's with a cop, but we would totally be able to understand if this happened at a Black church, or hell, it's happened in Catholic churches all the time. Well, that's what they talk about all the time.
So I say it have Catholics all the time.
Right. We're able to understand that because we're closer, you know, more closely tied to believing authority in church, not outside. You know, we don't believe authority in a secular world, but we believe inside the church. What the pastor says, what the elder said, what the bishop says, oh, we're gonna go with that. We'll go with that. Hell, Eddie L. Long is probably paving a long way to hell for that very same thing.
I'm trying to find where these fools got a divorce.
I don't even know them.
And I see, are you talking about the 63? Because I see one that says a 63-year-old pastor marries the 18-year-old. That's the one, BW?
Yeah.
Black guy?
Black guy, yeah.
Okay.
What?
63. Disgusting.
There's another documentary when you're saying 63 and married to an 18-year-old girl. There's a documentary about, I forget where, I think it's like a 2020 documentary, and I'll have to find it and send you guys the link.
But Bishop Dwight Reed, that's his name.
Okay, let me write that down. Bishop Dwight Reed. But there's a document, like I said, I think it's a 2020 documentary, but it's talking about underage marriage. And there's a story in there. This girl, she started when she was like 10 years old, where her parents, her mother and father were pastors in the church, and her parents started grooming her for the deacon.
Why the deacon and not the elder?
When she was
sorry
you
about
know
that.
what? I can't.
I'm just saying hierarchy, church hierarchy. Ain't no, the deacon don't really hold nothing in the church. Not no deacon.
Oh my God. I think it's 2020.
Jackie know what I'm talking about.
I do. That's why I
know what you're talking about. I know you're gonna start with that church.
That's why I laughed.
I'm just saying the deacon don't hold no, you know, he might have a couple
he
of keys,
no
but the
power
elder is the one that would have more power over the deacon.
Let me see. It's called I Was a Child Bride, and I'm gonna send you guys the link to it.
Tell me, wait, over a deacon?
Over a deacon?
I mean, nobody really, but a deacon. Come on now.
I think it was a deacon because
ain't nobody's deacon took over no church.
2019. I didn't say he took over the church. I said that they married her, they groomed her for this man.
Why are you listening to PW?
Why are you indignant right now? Like, why are you rubbing your knee, rubbing back and forth? Because
of the deacon.
So it would have been better.
You might as well said the guy who vacuums the floor at the church.
So it would have been better if it was the bishop.
No, it wouldn't have been better. But I'm like,
what she's saying is what she's trying to say is like the deacon. It's like the deacon.
Well, because he also got her pregnant. That's why. So she had to marry him. They made her marry.
Well,
because
you
they
didn't
were
say
like,
that
this
part.
is a
went
good
up.
dude. He wasn't.
I was making it sound like
They were the pastors of the church. Now I sent you guys the link, so watch the damn documentary. But they were the pastors of the
it was
church.
sounding like that they were grooming this girl for the deacon, like she didn't have no kids.
No,
with
for this guy,
Why are you
for
going back
him
and forth?
in particular.
Why
Like
are
they
you going
were
back and forth?
because
Brand, why are you going back and
because
forth?
I'm gonna explain this to her in a rational manner.
I understand what you're saying now. I understand it.
Yeah, they were grooming her for him because they were the pastors already. So it's not like he was a young pastor coming through. They were already the pastors of their own church.
And so he got her pregnant,
they're
so they were like,
grooming,
you got to marry that fool.
They're grooming the both of them. They're grooming him to bring him through the ranks, and they want their daughter to come with him through the ranks. And then he gets her pregnant. And then she's forced to marry him at this point.
Well, how old is this fool?
He was in his 20s. And she was barely a teenager. She wasn't even a teenager. Like, it's sickening. But watch this documentary. It's a 2020 documentary. It was on it was on A&E. Now
it's Black?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, at least you groom for an evangelist or something, a deacon.
You know what? We are going to go ahead.
We done. I knew it.
That note right there. We are not going to take this bullshit any further. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy that second cup, and we will see you guys next time on Black Coffee.
You had to keep saying something.
I'm not going to keep doing this with you. This is not.
I'm just saying, a deacon.
Listen, this is the first show of 2023. We will not carry this mess for the rest of the year.
Fortune 500 company, and you grooming your daughter for the janitor.
That's what it's like.
Not even an evangelist.
You didn't hear nothing I said.
Minister of music.
You didn't hear nothing I said. The minister of music is gay.
Yeah, you're right. You grooming your son in that.
Y'all have a good night. We will see y'all next time on Black Coffee and Crime. Pray for all of us because it's gonna be a long year.